You're listening to 515, the Ultra Podcast, the show that invites you into the lives of people who make up the Ultra family. Here's your host for these conversations, Larry Ryan.
Thanks, MJ. Today I speak with Carlos Pena, who is at this very moment taking part in the Deca Ultra Tri Mexico. Then Van Sanchez joins me to preview the UltraMX 515. And if you stick it out to the end, you will hear about the newest 515 race coming to Texas. My next guest is another of the UltraMX 515 athletes in profile. He has already competed in 3 515 distance races, one in the traditional 3-day format and 2 others in the non-stop version. He definitely likes to see how many races he can link together. He has also competed in a triple long distance continuous and a quintuple continuous. Joining me from his home in Laredo, Texas, is Carlos Pena. Welcome to 515.
Hi, thank you, Larry.
So I understand that you are going to go even further soon, that you have not 1, but 2 Decas on your horizon. Can you tell me where are these and when are these going to be happening?
The first Deca is going to be, or 2 different formats. So the first one that I'm going to do is going to be the Deca 1 per day. So it's going to be 10 Ironmans, basically 10 Ironman distances in 10 days. Mm-hmm. That's going to be Mexico in about 3 weeks.
Okay.
On October 17th. And that's the first one. And then on next year, we're going to Brazil to doing the Deca, but that's the continuous format.
Continuous. Okay. So a Deca continuous. What part of Brazil is that in?
Rio de Janeiro.
Oh, Rio. Nice. Very nice. So I was going to ask you how close you were to the UltraMX 515 on this Deca, but now it sounds like you're overlapping days with the UltraMX 515.
Yeah, it happened.
Oh, so did you sign up for that Deca after signing up for the UltraMX?
Well, no. Actually, I first signed up for the Deca, but we didn't know the dates for the UltraMX first.
I see what happened. Yeah,
overlapping.
So I guess that means you're out on the UltraMX.
Yes.
Man, my athletes in profile, they seem to start missing the races that I'm profiling them for. I'm gonna have to start a jinx or something here.
No, that's fine. I've been on the UltraMX 3 times, and the last one was at the beginning of this year with the nonstop. So I already did at least I covered my quota for this year.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I like that. So when you were racing previously I think it was in one of your quintuple races, you got a chance to race with Sergio Cordero, who is a former Deca champion, but you were able to beat him at that quintuple in Brazil. So does that give you some kind of confidence going forward when you race against someone like that and you come out on top?
I don't know. No, well, it's not like confidence. It's just that I don't know. I just had a good race. I'm thankful for that. I had a good race, and actually I learned a lot from Sergio. He was giving me very good advices, and he's always smiling. He's always pushing for you forward. So it was a great race, but of course he still has the record, I believe, since 2006 or 2009. So no one has been taking his record for a while.
Yeah. And what I meant was, does it give you confidence that as you move forward now into a Deca, that you will be able to transition up to the Deca?
Well, I think so. Yeah. I've been training really hard, and yeah, I'm trying to do a good role on the race, having a good time, not only finishing, but doing my best. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I feel good to finish both races.
And have you changed your volume of training at all to do a Deca, or are you doing the same thing and you're just going to try and put it all together for 10 days?
Yes or not. Basically, I learned a lot. I've been reading more. learning from another athletes. And I train about 20 to 25 hours a week. Is kind of the sweet spot for the ultra distance training volume. But I'm not training. That's the same that I was doing last year, about 20 to 25 hours still.
And how would you break that down over the disciplines?
About 10 hours on the bike, 8 to 10 hours run, and the rest on the pool.
And I only ask that because I know a lot of people who listen to the podcast. They're trying to find out how do other people do this stuff. What are their training programs? How much are they doing? And I think a lot of people going into ultra might get a little bit confused about you really have to ramp up the volume to meet the higher volume of the race. And most of the people who have been doing it for a while, they've learned that you don't really have to. It's a little more quality over quantity.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, probably right now I'm training 6 days a week and taking one day off. But out of those 6 days, probably 4 of those days is only 2 hours a day, like 1 hour running, 1 hour swimming or so. And probably the long weekends is when I put 4 to 6 hour sessions.
Mm-hmm. And have you been able to avoid injury through your training this way?
Yes. I haven't had any injuries in the last couple of years.
And you were saying that you actually have learned a lot by racing with and talking to Sergio. So share maybe some of his advice. What have you picked up from him?
Well, from him and from other athletes, the same level as Sergio, they always talk about nutrition, about resting, about, not getting mad if you skip one day of training. And mostly is not going too fast at the beginning of the race. Just, keep your pace, go slow. From Sergio, he said, like, if you think you're going slow, go slower. That's his advice. If you think you're going slow, you better go slower. So that's the kind of idea from those long distance races.
Yeah. And these upcoming races that you have, do you know any of the competitors that are going to these races? Is there anybody you're looking forward to meeting or seeing again?
Yeah, actually, for both races, it's pretty much the same athletes. World class athletes. They always competing. Trying to break records or winning the cups or whatever. There's people from different countries, which I think there's people from France, from Switzerland. Sergio Cordeiro, he's coming to Mexico next week. So he's going to be from Brazil. I think there's a lady, I can't recall her name. I think it's Chanda from Canada as well.
Yes, Shanda Hills. She's from Vernon, just up the road, a famous Canadian ultra athlete.
She's looking to be on the women's field with the most Decas. I believe this is going to be her sixth.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, something crazy.
Yeah. And you've completed 3 5:15 races previously. They're all the UltraMX, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And one was a regular 3-day event and 2 were the continuous?
That's correct.
Yeah. So when you transferred to that continuous race in the Ultra MX, how did that change for your strategies or your actual racing? What did you have to do differently to do it continuously over the 3-day stage race?
Well, on the continuous, actually, the training, it was different. Probably more 25 to 30 hours a week, but mostly was longer sessions once a week, like swimming, 6 miles or biking 100, 200K, 300K on the bike, 8-12 hours on the bike sessions. Some of them later at night, or I remember I was running 50 to 100K on the longer runs.
That's a long training run.
Yeah, for the 100K, I was looking for a race.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the 50K, I was just a training session.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's a good way of doing it. So now you were going to come back and do the UltraMX again before the scheduling conflict. What is it that brings you back to keep doing this race over again?
Well, I think at this point with the UltraMX, it's just the people. We just made a lot of friends. It's a great vibe. Sanchez, the race director, he's great. He's really welcoming. So it's a pretty much it's just because it's a great vibe at that race.
Yeah, and I know that the people that are going down there, he tells them that, you know, they're going to get the real Mexican experience when they come down. It's not like the resort Mexican experience.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's unique.
Yeah. So, what advice would you give someone who was wanting to try a nonstop version of 515? Other than the training that you were talking about, what else do you think they need to know?
You know, be confident that you can do it. If you're thinking you might not be able, probably it's not your time yet. You just have to be sure.
Right.
And then, yeah, many things can happen during the race, and you might have a DNF, but that's later in the race. But not having the question before even start the race. Just be confident. It's doable. It's doable. It's really fun. It's painful, but it's nice. If you really want to do the non-stop version, go for it.
Yeah. And have you had any experience with DNFs?
Yes, I have 2 DNFs. Both of them were on trying to run 100 miles. So it was not on a triathlon. It was on a trail run. And
what races were those?
The first one was an injury. It was blisters. I couldn't walk anymore. And the second one, I wasn't able to make the cutoff times.
Oh yeah. What races were you at for those?
Both of them in Texas. One of them, the name of the race, it was Blazing Sevens. It was 100 miles, and I ran 74, 76 miles on that one. It was pretty close, but the second one, I did 80 miles. It was pretty close to finish, and I didn't make the cutoff time.
Oh, was it the same race course each time?
It wasn't the same race course on different season of the year, which is one of them. It was on winter, but that was my first experience with 100 mile. So I made a lot of mistakes.
Yeah,
a lot of mistakes, and that was the main reason I DNF. On the second one is on summer, and is tough. That race is really hard. Humidity 100%. Temperature about 40-45 degrees.
Yeah.
Like really hot.
So when you say you made mistakes on the race, just so maybe some other listeners doing some ultra races don't make those same mistakes, what sort of things were you doing that caused you the DNF?
Probably not. Well, first of all, not having the experience, because that was my first trail run. And so I wasn't sure about the nutrition, probably proper clothing, for sure. Clothing, changing socks often during the race, having clean feet, or cleaning your feet each loop, stuff like that. But mostly like nutrition, hydration, and reading about the race. Be prepared for the race, not only the distance but the actual course.
Right. So that you're prepared for the profile of it and the temperature changes and things like that.
Yes, because that's one of those. I made many mistakes on that race.
So will you go back to challenge this race again?
I just finished it last month.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, I went back and finished the race.
So how does it feel to go back and really take on that same race and have your day at it?
It was a relief because it was really tough, but I was able to do it well. I feel very good about the race.
Mm-hmm.
Everything came, according to plan. I was pacing myself, nutrition on point. Everything, everything was really perfect. So it worked pretty nice.
Yeah. And so now again, does that give you some more confidence going forward with your upcoming races that you're getting in tune with your body and your nutrition? I assume you'll do something similar.
Yeah, for sure. I'm really happy that I finished the race, but it was also part of my training for the Decas.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it gives me confidence that that I feel prepared for the races that are coming.
I think that gives us a really good background into your racing career. I would like to do two parts of these athlete and profiles where we hear about your racing, and then we have this transition round where I ask you some quick rapid fire questions, and then we find out a little bit more about you personally outside of your racing. So if you're ready for it, I would like to start the 2 minutes in transition.
Okay, I'm good. Ready.
All right. So you've also completed 6 Ironman races. What was your favorite Ironman?
Louisville, Kentucky. It's really nice. The city is nice. I don't know. It was a nice venue. The finish line, it was great. I was with my wife and my son, and we enjoyed it. We took it like a vacation week as well.
So do you have any current bucket list events that are on your radar, different challenges you want to try, maybe in the ultra areas?
Yeah, there's a few things that I want to do. I want to run Maratón de Sables.
Mm.
That's one of those things on my list that I have for a while. But I also want to do RAM, the Race Across America, right?
Okay.
That's another one that I would like to do.
What is the biggest mileage week you've had in your training or in your racing or combined?
I did an Ivy triathlon. Part of the training, it took me 24 hours. It was 23 hours and 59 minutes. I swam 5 kilometers, ride 300 Ks, and then run 50 kilometers. So it was a 355, just one training session here in town.
Oh, so you did your own 355 as a training session?
Yeah, I did it right here.
That's excellent.
I put all my nutrition on my car, and that was it.
Oh, cool. Yeah. We're actually starting a new 355 here in Canada as well. If you decide you want to come up to Canada, Steve Brown up in Penticton's doing 355.
I heard.
Yeah.
I heard. I just saw it on the I think on Instagram or Facebook, but I just saw it like yesterday.
Yeah.
Nice.
There's one for you to aim for, and then we can meet in person.
Yeah, that would be great.
So let's get into more of your personal side of your life a little bit. What is your life like outside of racing? What's your family unit look like and stuff like that?
Okay, my son, he's 21. He lives in Austin, actually. He's on his last year of college.
What's his name?
Brandon. Brandon, yes. And my wife and I spend our free time here at home. We have a dog, and that's our time, grilling. Basically, every night we grill and watch TV.
Yeah. So you got a bit of an empty nest going on now.
Yes. And yeah, with the training currently, with the current the racing season, there's not much free time. So we train in the morning, go to work, train in the afternoon, and by then it's getting late. It's like about this time. It's dinner, watch TV, go to bed.
Is your wife a racer as well?
Yeah, he has done. She has done a few races as well. Not triathlons, a few marathons, and lately a trail run as well.
That's good that you can share the training then together.
Oh yeah, and she's my captain in my crew. She's the one who takes care of me.
Oh, excellent. Yeah. And what is your day job? How do you pay for all these events that you go to?
I work at Guitar Center. I'm the general manager at Guitar Center here in town, and it's pretty fun. I like my work. I like my job.
What does a day of working at Guitar Center look like? What do you have to do?
Play the guitar. Nah, not really. No, well, I work at the office, so it's basically just doing numbers and running reports and stuff like that. It's not as you may think, but I spend a lot of time with the customers and looking for their needs
Hmm.
and selling instruments. That's what I do
Oh yeah,
to pay my rent.
yeah. And you yourself were previously a musician, a professional musician. What kind of work did you do? Were you a touring with a band, or were you a studio musician? What did you do?
No, I had a band. Well, I had a band, but I also play for other local artists in the studio a couple of times. Only a few sessions. I did a few sessions of studio. That was for about 15 years, 12, 15 years. That was my my job.
That was your job then, yeah. And were you a guitar player or multiple instruments? What did you do?
Guitar player.
Yeah. And what's your favorite kind of music then? What were you playing?
No, I like classic rock. That's what I like.
And so did you ever do like a tour around those nice southern cities of Nashville and Memphis and Austin, New Orleans, that kind of stuff?
Nah, no, well, I played in Austin a few times, but actually back then we were living in Mexico, so we were
Oh,
doing the gigs in Mexico.
oh yeah, yeah. And then were you doing them all in Spanish, or was it English and Spanish, or how did that go?
Well, basically all in Spanish.
Mm.
Yeah, for what I recall, it was all Spanish.
Mm. Do you have any recordings anywhere that we would be able to find and listen to? Is there anything
No,
out there
not
on
really.
Spotify or YouTube?
I don't think so. I think everything has been deleted.
Have you had the opportunity to play with anyone famous that we would know, or?
No, I don't think so. No,
Yeah.
I don't recall. Honestly, it's not that I'm hiding anything. No, it's
Yeah.
just that it was a long time ago.
Yeah. Do you ever teach music?
No, it's
No.
it's not on my genes. It's hard to teach. It's easy to play, but it's hard to teach.
Uh, yeah.
It's probably same as sports. It's like it may be easy to do the sport, but not to be a coach.
Right. Yeah. So then, as a fan of music, what is the favorite show that you have gone to? What's your favorite concert you've gone to?
Oof. Oh, we have been in many concerts. I saw Pantera once.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was a really good concert. What else? Oof. Oh, there has been so many. There's one that I haven't seen that I want to go to see the Eagles.
Oh, the Eagles. They were just in my city last week.
Oh,
They
nice.
were
No,
just
I
in
haven't been
Vancouver.
able.
Yeah. I saw the Eagles a couple years ago, and it was a good show. Yeah.
Sure.
As you were saying, you're living in Laredo, but you're a Mexican citizen, and you recently even went back to Mexico. What is it like? Like we see on TV all the time about the border issues, being a border town like that, with a lot of the migrants coming from South America, and they get stuck in Mexico and trying to get in the U.S. and all that. As someone who lives there in a border town and has a Mexican background, what is it really like? What is really happening down there that we don't see on the news? Maybe.
Well, first of all, it's exactly what you say. That's what is been happening for the last few years.
Hmm.
There's a lot of people trying to come to the U.S., coming from South or Central America, getting stuck at the border.
Hmm.
So there's so many people trying to cross right now. But also the violence that you hear on the news, I believe it can get worse than what you see on the news. Because sometimes there's a lot of shootings or stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
and it never comes on the news.
Oh yeah. And you're talking about on the Mexican side when they're being
Yeah, yeah,
held to come across that and they're all grouped together and stuff like that.
yeah. Everything is on the Mexican side.
Yeah. So how is Mexico dealing with this, or are they able to deal with this?
Well, they're not doing anything, or it doesn't seem like they're doing anything.
Mm. And what do you think that could be happening? Just as someone that's right there in the mix, do you think there's anything that could be better? Like, does the U.S. need to open the border and let these people in, or should they not let these people in? In your opinion, what do you think?
Well, it's really delicate because they will have to run the background, do a background check of each of them just
Mm-hmm.
to make sure, because you don't know, who's coming and what's the
Yeah.
background, and if they're, uh, you know, drug dealers or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You, I think that's the delicate thing they are running right now.
Yeah. And how is it for you crossing the border? Do you get held up as well, or do you get through pretty smoothly?
Well, right now I was a resident, and now I'm also a U.S. citizen, so I have both citizenships right now,
Mm-hmm.
so I can go back and forth.
Yeah, and they don't harass you at all ever, and
No, no, no.
yeah.
Actually, no, because the people that is talking in the Mexican side, they're not right they're at the border, but not at the bridge,
Okay.
so you don't have any problems with them.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Well, I feel like I got to know you a little bit here, but not quite enough. I think you're going to have to come up to Canada and do a 355 race, Carlos.
Yeah, that would be nice. That would really, really nice.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to come and be on 515 with me. And good luck with your upcoming Decas. Unfortunately, you're not going to be in the 515 that we're profiling you for. But hey, that's the way it goes. And yeah, good luck to you in your upcoming Decas. And I'll check in and make sure that you finish those.
Thank you so much, Larry. I really appreciate it.
Hey there, listener. I have to throw out a huge thank you to you for responding to my call out last episode. I mentioned that I was looking forward to having the podcast reach extend to over 1,000 cities around the world. At the time, we were at 922. I know that this podcast is niche, and we don't have the budget or audience of shows like Breakfast with Bob or Rich Roll, but we do get just as interesting guests. So I asked you to share that you listen to 515 with your friends to hear these stories. And you responded. The last episode received 3 times as many downloads as other recent episodes, and the number of cities expanded to a whopping 1,047. So I know that a lot of new listeners are coming aboard. Thank you for that. And please continue to share with your Ironman friends that you know would be interested in this content. And if they aren't quite ready to make the jump to 515, direct them to Steve Brown's new Ultra 355 Canada race coming to Penticton this summer. Thanks for listening, and thanks for sharing. You are my best ambassadors to continue to grow my audience. I am now going to bring in the race director for a preview of the athletes competing at the 515 race happening in a few days over October 28th, 29th, and 30th. It is, of course, the UltraMX 515 in Fresnillo, Mexico. Welcome back to the 515, my friend, Van Sanchez.
Hey, Larry, how are you? It's a pleasure record this video for the people and record this podcast for all the Ultra family around the world. We are here in Mexico preparing all the stuff for the race to receive all the athletes this year. The 7th year.
This is your 7th year.
Yeah.
And you've also done the UltraMX nonstop a few times as well, correct?
2 times, Larry. 2 times on, this year in 22 and 21 too.
Mm-hmm. So you've got a few races under your belt now, and many people probably know that you hold the world record for the youngest person to finish a 5:15 race when you did that in the UK at just 19 years of age. But you are getting a little older now, Van, and some athletes may only know you as the race director of UltraMX and these nonstop races and the 355 in Cozumel. So can you just give us a quick history of your racing career thus far so the listener knows a little bit more about you as an athlete as well?
Yeah, for sure, Larry. Well, I have a long story here in the Ultraman family, Larry. But really, now I am 27 years old. I broke the record. I finished my first Ultraman when I was 19, almost 10 years ago. But the world change year by year, and you change your capacity year by year to organize, to find the correct way to give to the athlete a good experience with all your structure, with your tools, with your mindset, with your power, with your energy, to organize a good event year by year for the athletes who want involved on this ultra family, Larry. And for me, well, now I just run around the world. I try to organize a few races and run a few races here in Mexico, ultra races, obviously. I love the mountains. I love the roads here in Mexico. And obviously, this year, we had the opportunity to be with you in Canada
Yes, that
a
was
few months
great.
ago. Yeah. And well, I have a long history in the Ultraman family. Uh, well, talk about the Ultraman races. It's for me simply, Larry, because it's my really, really, really lifestyle. Day by day and year by year, since 10 years ago, Ultraman is life. It's not a race. For me, it's a lifestyle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that happens. You know, lots of people who come into this community and once they're in, they never really leave, myself included. And it's also true of another Ultraman athlete from the 80s who raced and is still around the scene in a big way. Of course, the person I'm talking about is Steve King, and you've invited Steve down to your race this year. What does that mean to you?
Well, this year for me is well. I always try to organize uh, a few things on my mind and try to visualize a few finish lines on my mind. And Steve is one of the is part of the Ultra MX because I start with Steve on in UK.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, Steve here in Mexico is like a dream, and for me, it's a very special year. Maybe the number one year of ever, because it's special. We have the opportunity to work with the guy who is, for me, Steve is the real Ultraman Ohana, the real Ultraman Kokua, and the real Ultraman Aloha. For me,
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think for everybody who's involved in Ultraman feels that way.
we are very happy. I'm excited to receive, and I'm excited to go to the airport and drive with Steve with good music
Yeah,
and start with the event, obviously, Larry. We are
yeah.
very happy.
Last time you were on the podcast, we were talking about your big win in the 515 Ultra Podcast Facebook Bracket Challenge last March. And your Ohana was backing your race all the way with the votes. That was a pretty fun contest. Congratulations again on the win. How did it feel for you to be on the winning end of that?
Yeah, we have a WhatsApp group with all the Ultraman finishers and all the crew members and the people who helped me to organize the race. And they know about the contest immediately and try to push the race to win the contest with you.
Okay, well let's get to talking about the upcoming race now then, and to get into this preview. You have how many athletes coming? Tell me the stats here.
Well, this year we have 16 athletes. We have 11 men and 5 women. A good number of women, and for me it's amazing because year by year we have more and more women involved on these kind of races, Larry.
Mm-hmm. And that's important because overall, like Ironman races, the general field is much fewer women than there are men. And, we saw in Canada this summer, women dominate at the Ultraman Canada.
I can see in the future, maybe for the next year, we can try to find 10 women and 10 men, or half and half.
Right, try and have an equal field. Yeah, that would be great. Yeah. Well, let's talk about these women first, since we're talking about the women. In the breakdown of your 5 women, you have 3 competing in the 30 to 39 age category, 1 in the 40 to 49 age category, and 1 in the 50 to 59 category. Can you introduce the first athlete for us in that 30 to 39 category, please?
Her name is Ana Gallardo. She's 34 years old. She born in Puebla, Mexico. And she only finished a 70.3, one duathlon, and a virtual Everesting cycling race.
She has a pretty famous Ultraman coach. Can you fill us in on who's coaching her?
Yeah. His name is Iñaki de la Parra. He's from Mexico, and he was Ultraman world champion.
And do you how well do you know Inaki? Tell us a little bit about Inaki.
The first time when I met Iñaki was 10 years ago in Mexico City, and he explained me the correct way to prepare one athlete, the correct way to organize a macro cyclo, and all the stuff behind the training, and a few secrets about the training for this kind of races. This guy is amazing.
Yeah. Now, as far as her racing goes, as you said, she's done a couple of 70.3s. She did place 3rd place overall in her age category and was the 19th female at the Acapulco 2022 70.3. And she did that with a swim time of 36:01, bike 2:52:51. She ran a 1:48:11 for a total time of 5:26:22. She's also been a cyclist since 2009. So obviously that bike is going to be a big part of her race for her. And she's just recently transitioned over to triathlon. So it'll be interesting to see how that works out for her.
Yeah. We have the security. She can finish the race. I saw the training. The training was perfect.
And with a coach like Inaki, you're pretty sure that she's going to get the support she needs to get to that finish line.
You have the tools, but you need the legs and the mind to finish.
That's right. Yes. Yeah. You need the engine.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, now I noticed that part of her crew is going to be her boyfriend, and many of the people on your crew, and maybe this is part of your Mexican heritage, they're all bringing family as their crew. Now, for some racers, this could be, really a big bonus to have their significant other there with them. And for others, it could be a negative because, they don't want to see those people in pain. So what do you think about that and how that plays out in the crews when you see it there in Mexico?
Well, it depends, obviously, it depends, Larry. The circumstances and the kind of people who you want in on your crew is important. Well, for me, the family is important, but maybe your family don't have the experience, they don't have the tools or the capacity to organize. Or they don't know about the mechanic, they don't know about the technologies to find the road and all the stuff. But if it's your first time, you can organize your crew with half and half, half with technical things, organize technical things,
Yeah.
and the another half to organize the mental things, the sentimental things.
Yeah,
I
the
think
things that are going to keep you going when you hit those lows.
exactly, the quality it's important for the race.
Yeah.
And Anna, boyfriend on the team, his name is Leoncio or Leo. I know Leo. He's a amazing athlete. He done 9 Ironmans, so many 70.3s. He have a lot of long distance races on the bucket, and obviously he have a lot of experience and he can organize all the crew. He have the experience to finish the race with Anna, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah. So in her case, this will probably be a good thing to have the boyfriend along.
Yeah. And Edwin is another part of the crew. All the people in this crew have experience to help Anna.
Excellent. Yeah. Because the crew always plays a big part.
Yeah, it is the most important part.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to the next athlete then. Can you introduce us to the next woman?
Yeah. And the next one is Esther del Rocío Alcántara Ávila. She born in León, Guanajuato, Mexico. She's 37 years old.
And she comes from a running background. She has 10 marathons on her resume. She has a 100-kilometer run on her resume, but she doesn't have any Ironman distances on there. I'm just wondering, what are your requirements? Because they are definitely different than the UltraMan brand for getting into the race. So do you have a minimum entry requirement for your people?
We have a few requirements, but Larry, the story of this girl, she is the wife of one of my favorite UltraMX finishers ever. His name is Héctor Torres El Capi. He's his partner. And they is involved on these races because Héctor started with this maybe 3 years ago. And obviously we have the opportunity to give to open the doors to these kind of athletes who have experience, but it's amazing when you are partnered of one Ultraman finisher and your partner push and give the opportunity to finish the race too, and that's very cool.
Yeah, and I guess he's coaching her along the way and working with her as well.
Yeah.
She I understand. She said that she's been living Ultraman for 4 years already.
Yeah, it is. It is. It is, and that's very cool. He live the same. Hector and they live at the Ultraman Ohana all the time.
Well, let's move on to the last woman in the 30 to 39 category then. What can you tell us about this woman? I believe she's from your local area.
Okay, the next one is Noemi Pichardo. She's 39 years old. She's from Zacatecas, and she's a long distance swimmer. She have a good experience with the Ultraman because she's involved since 4 years ago on the UltraMX, and she started like a crew on the race. And it's the same thing. We need push the athletes. We push my friends, push the people who are involved on that. Not exactly to help all the time. That's amazing. But if you have the opportunity to train, you are a good athlete. You have the mentality to finish this. You need to try this like an athlete.
Right. Yeah. So once you get them hooked in and get them part of the family, you start, okay, now maybe it's your turn to take part.
Yeah, and it's the reason because you need to start with your training, Larry.
Yeah. So she's a long distance swimmer, and nobody wins this race in the swim.
Exactly.
But we're in the ultra 5:15 race. You're swimming 10 kilometers, so that's not going to be a problem for her, I'm guessing. Can you just remind me, in your swim, is it an open water swim or do you do a pool swim?
The swim course is on a lake. We have a short circuit of 1 kilometer, and we have 10 loops to finish the 10K.
Well, let's look at your next age category for the women. That's the age group from 40 to 49. There is one athlete in this age group.
The next one is Roselia Valdovinos. She's 45 years old, and she lives in Monterrey, but she born in a small town in Tamaulipas. It's near here to Monterrey. She finished a lot of Ironman distances, and his coach is part of the race. His coach is Mario Vasquez. We can talk about Mario, but this time we need to talk about Roselia. She's a good athlete. She's mother. She have a family. She have a lot of things to do all the day, and obviously she have the correct time to train for the race. She finished 2 ultra running races, about 50K and 60K a few years ago, Larry.
Our next competitor also has a large number of Ironmans to her credit. Who do we have up next?
Alida Davis, 54 years old. She born in Mexico City, and she have a lot of Ironmans.
Yeah, so she's completed 11 Ironmans and 30 70.3s. And she also has 3 10-kilometer open water swims on her resume. So obviously the swim is not going to be an issue for her. When I was looking up her stats at her Ironman Cozumel in 2016, I saw that she finished that race in 16:20:18, and her run time was 6:30:14. Now, if her run time is 6:30 for a marathon and you have a 12-hour cutoff for your double marathon, like all the 5:15s, do you know of any training that she's done to improve that running in the time since to make sure she doesn't miss a cutoff in this race?
Yeah, Larry, the run course is hard because in the middle of Mexico is like the desert. But she have the tools to finish the race. She have a good time. She have a lot of experiences, and obviously we hope, and we want and we know who can finish the race, and she's one of this group. She can finish the race, obviously, and the run course is not a problem.
So yeah, you feel confident in her to get to the finish line because I understand she's also set up with one of the best crew members that has ever worked at the Mexico race.
Yeah, name is Gustavo Borjon. He is from Zacatecas. He's a cyclist. He's not a triathlete, but I don't know why, but he's involved since the first year when we organized the race. She won 3 times the race as a crew member, and that's amazing for Alida because she's on good hands now, Larry.
Yeah, yes, it's having an experienced crew member and someone who's actually taken someone to the finish line in first place is definitely a major bonus for her. Well, let's move over to the men's division. In the men's division, you will have 11 competitors ranging from the age of 23 to 55. So, who is this young 23-year-old who is taking on the challenge this year?
Her name is Luis Carlos Avalos. He's the second year on the list for Luis Carlos.
Yeah. Well, I saw that he did the Ironman 70.3 Monterrey in 2018, and he finished 11th in his age group. So he's probably a pretty speedy guy. He finished that in 5:09:45.
Yeah, and it's a very, very good cyclist. Maybe we won't see on the race, maybe on the second place. Will be amazing on the first place, but he have a lot of competitors with good with level on the race, Larry. But this guy is amazing, and I don't know how many athletes on this with 23 years old are finished 2 UltraMX.
Yeah, not too many for sure. Maybe Van Sanchez.
I don't know, maybe.
Yeah. And you have another young competitor in the field. You have a 25-year-old. Who do you got there?
Yeah. The next is Carlos Arturo Galvis Fajardo. He's 25 years old, and he comes from Bogota, Colombia. He comes with his father, his mother, and his sister and girlfriend from Colombia too.
Yeah, so bringing the whole family from Colombia. He's
that's
in it too.
Very nice.
He's in it. Yeah, and he's the only competitor this year that is attending from outside of Mexico. So it's great to have him along. He's already completed 3 Ironman races and some 70.3s as well. I saw that his Ironman in Brazil in 2022, he finished 21 in his age group. And he had a 1:08:58 swim, 5:14:49 bike, 3:43:17 run for a total time of 10:17:23. So that looks pretty good for him to be one of the people up there, I think, as well.
Yeah.
What do you think?
A good time, a very, very good time for an Ironman race. Will be for me, obviously not the story. It's not the story, but maybe he can't finish the race on a three on the top 3, or maybe he can win the race. We don't know, but he looks he looks fit. He looks fast and strong.
Yeah. Well, he says that he was mainly a soccer player when younger, but he had to retire due to injuries in both knees. So it might come down to the run for him. I mean, yeah, based on his Ironman times, you'd think that this young man might be one of the favorites. But like I said, it could come down to the run as it does at so many 5:15 events. And a lot of people do have some great distance experience in the field. And one of those runners is one of the 2 men in the 30 to 39 age group, which we'll be covering next. These athletes don't bring a lot of triathlon experience, but one of them has been on a 200-kilometer treadmill run, which I'll tell you, I could never do, not because of the distance, but because I would just get bored and because of the distance. But that might make the difference for one of these guys on day 3. So tell us a little bit about your age group, 30 to 39 men.
Yeah, it's a good friend of mine. His name is Mario Alberto Vázquez Leal. He's 36 years old and he lives in Monterrey. This guy, Larry, is one of my favorite Ultraman finishers because it's unique. I met Mario maybe 5 or 7 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and this guy is finisher of a lot of ultra and adventure races here in Mexico. He's a good guy. His trainer is his coach. He have a group of childs who train triathlon, and he live in the sport. It's the same. It's the kind of people who you want on your race all the years. Larry.
Yeah, so he's bringing up the next generation then.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Right, yeah. And he has some 515 experience, right?
Yeah, 3 times and 1 time Ultraman nonstop race.
Now, I see that he lists himself not only as a coach, but he's also the head of security somewhere and a lawyer. Do you know what's his background for his work?
He work on the police. He work on the government. He work on the football and a lot of faces, a professional faces from Mario. That's very cool. And obviously he is an Ultraman finisher and he have a lot of histories always, Larry. He have a lot of experience in the life.
Okay, nice. Well, the next athlete up is the one who I just mentioned has done a 200-kilometer treadmill run. Can you please introduce us to that athlete?
Is Brad Allen. He's 37 years old. He lived in San Luis Potosí, but this guy is from Saint Vincent or San Vicente, Granadas. This guy is a beginner, but is not exactly a beginner, and you can talk about it because he have a lot of experience, but it's very strange.
Yeah. I looked this guy up prior to having this conversation, and he lists himself as having no professional athletic achievements, just some local sprint and Olympic triathlons. He's also done ultra marathons of 60 kilometers and 200 kilometers on the treadmill, as I mentioned. And he has a ton of videos on YouTube and Instagram for Brad Allen Fitness. And when you look at those, he is certainly physically fit. But does he have what it takes to do a 515?
Well, Larry, a few things. He have an angel behind of this guy. He have he have an aura. This guy is amazing. You can love this guy when you meet this kind of people, Larry.
Yeah.
It's a good athlete, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Not all the people can finish 200K.
No.
It's difficult. Not a lot.
Yeah.
But he have a lot of love. He's amazing. He's the kind of people who you want on the race because he's the 3 words aloha, hana, and kukua like a human all the time. And it's the reason because this guy tried to move between the Spartan races because this guy started with the Spartan and adventure races.
Mm-hmm.
And then ultramarathons and now triathlon and this year Ultraman triathlon. He lives on the ultra distance all the days of his life. And that's amazing for me, Larry.
Next up is the age group that will be the most contendant age group, and that's the men's 40 to 49. I believe that is usually the case, that at most 515 races as well, the higher up the age groups you go, the more people you have. So can you tell us about the first of the 5 people in the age group 40 to 49 for the men?
Yes. The next one is Leon Felipe Magno Galvan Ramirez. This guy is from León, Guanajuato, and he's 40 years old and a good friend.
I see that he has a lot of experience with duathlon and some 70.3s and a few marathons. He's even podiumed at duathlon. So, do you think that him, and he's also listed as a sports coach? Do you know what
Yeah.
it is that he coaches?
Yeah, he's partnered of Héctor Torres and Tei Alcántara. He have a company. They have a company, a sports company, and they have a lot of tools to help the people with the fitness and with the triathlon and with all the sports. That's amazing. I met Felipe maybe 3 years ago when Hector finished the Ultraman, and all the years he's involved on the race all the time.
Okay. So another one of your people that you had come along as a crew that are now taking part in the race.
Exactly. Yeah. And the next one is Eduardo Torres Milan. He is 44 years old. He lives here in Monterrey, Nuevo León, in Apodaca. He comes with his daughter, Arcelia Pimentel Quinto, Tania, and Cassandra Torres Pimentel. These girls are triathletes too, and it's a family who is involved totally on the triathlon life.
Yeah, I understand that they are actually like champions in their age group.
Yeah,
Is that
yeah,
right?
yeah, it is.
So I suspect that he will come in with a lot of good experience. And he has an Ironman Cozumel recently in 2021 that he's finished at a time of 13:57:18.
Yeah, and what a good story from Eduardo is his doctors push this guy to to start to training for the Ultraman, and that's amazing.
That's great. Yeah. You have a personal connection to our next athlete, and he's one of the competitors that you coach.
Yeah, it is. And his name is Francisco Jose Garcia Camacho. He's 45 years old, and it's the same thing, Larry. He's part of the Ohana. He have a lot of experiences in the Ultraman and Ultra Triathlon events. As a crew, he's an athlete, but he always put all the power and the energy as a crew, not as an athlete. And now this year, he's another side. And now he's on the list of the athletes, and that's amazing. The same thing.
Yeah.
Francisco have a lot of experiences as a crew, and maybe you can talk more about this guy. He's a good friend of mine and a good friend of all the community of UltraMX 515.
Yeah, I see again that he's one of the ones in his Ironman time that his marathon time went over 6 hours. But he's done the Ultra 355 in Cozumel. How was it there? Was he ever in jeopardy of reaching a cutoff, or is he okay on the run now?
Yeah, he's okay on the run. Well, the circumstances in Cozumel, always the weather, the road are hard, and normally the people have problems on the run course. But he trained a lot all the year. He finished the homework, and now he's on the race.
Yes, yeah.
And on the way to finish the race, obviously, yeah. This guy have a lot of experience. Like, well, he finished 2 times Ironman and 6 times 70.3 Ironman. That's the reason because I talk about this guy. He have a lot of experiences as an athlete. He finished 10 times marathon distance. and he's a professional guide, and he lives on the mountains all the weekend. We have two big mountains here in Mexico. The highest is the Pico de Orizaba. It's like 6,000 meters above the sea, and then the second one is the Iztaccíhuatl. It's near to Mexico City. Well, this guy is he lives there in the mountains. He loves the mountains, and was the reason because he started with the ultra distance events and adventure races. He talked about the Raramuris in Huachochi in Chihuahua, and he finished obviously this race. He finished one time the Ultra Huachochi. Maybe the people who listen us know about the Raramuris and the Tarahumara culture in the ultra running distance events, Larry.
Do you know how long that is?
Yeah, it was a 80K run.
80K. Wow. And I see he's also been on the Epic Deca as a crew. He has a master's degree in management skills. You say he organizes trips. He's also works as a mental trainer, triathlon trainer. So if there's anybody who's going to have all the tools to come in and do this,
Yeah, this guy is
it's
amazing.
going to be this man, right? Is this one of your favorites? And I think you're also his coach.
Yeah, yeah, this guy is amazing, Larry. I am the coach of Francisco,
Yeah.
but this guy it's a good athlete. It's a good professional. He is a very very good person, and obviously one of my favorites. All the athletes are my favorites, but this guy have a good combination to finish the race. Obviously.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on to the next one in the 40 to 49 category. Who do we got next?
The next one is Daniel Flores. This guy, well, all the guys are crazy, but this guy have critical problems with the bike. But Daniel, he is 46 years old. He born in Zacatecas, Mexico too, and he's a local athlete. That's very good and important for all the community, Larry. But you need to talk about the kind of athlete who is Daniel, Larry.
Yeah. I'm looking at his resume, and he's a very strong biker. He's got ultra distance biking like crazy. He's got 400 kilometers in 16 hours.
That's crazy. That's very hard, Larry.
650 kilometers in 30 hours, 850 kilometers in 40 hours.
Ouch.
And he's even done 1,200 kilometers in 72 hours, where he traveled from Mexico City to Mazatlan.
Yeah, that's very, very hard.
And he takes it out with the backpack too, and does some bike packing when he's gone from the south border to the north and east to west. He says he figures he's probably crossed the Mexican country more times than anyone else on a bike. He sounds like the kind of guy we need to introduce to Nick Millette.
Yeah, it is. It is. This guy is an adventure man, totally. Yeah, you talk about Nick, and I think the same. This guy is very similar than Nick. That's very cool. But Larry, this guy, it's if you cross the street, if you stay at the corner on a normal street here in Mexico and cross with this guy, you never imagine this guy is an amazing athlete. This guy is like a common people, but have a very very strong mindset, and obviously strong the strongest legs are never seen.
Oh, well, if he spends that much time on his bike, yeah. And he also works as a Uber delivery driver on his bike. And and then he spends time as a mechanic at a bike shop as well. So
Yeah.
he must be basically attached to two wheels his entire life.
Yeah, exactly. And is the reason because he is an amazing ultra athlete. He finished the Ironman 2 times. One time in Cozumel and then one time in Los Cabos. He have a good time, 14 hours, something like that. And he's a good athlete. He's yeah.
With the bike being the largest portion of the 515, he's going to have a bit of an advantage, I think, on this race.
Yeah, but he's maybe he's the strongest cyclist of the race, but he have the quality to finish the race across America or something like that.
Right.
And that would be amazing to see this guy maybe on this kind of races on the future.
And then maybe he can get Francisco to go and be on his crew.
Yeah, that will be amazing. Yeah. And you record the podcast with this guy. Will be cool.
Okay, well, let's move on to the next athlete. Who do we got up next?
Alejandro Pelayo. He's 49 years old and he lives in Mexico City. And have good races on the bucket, Larry.
Yeah, he's done the 70.3s. He's done full Ironman. He's done the Ocean Man version. So I'm expecting he'll be a good swimmer. He's done a number of marathons in Mexico City, and he's got a 100-kilometer trail run under his belt. So he seems to have all the pieces there. His most recent Ironman in Cozumel, 2021. He finished that in a total time of 12 hours, 4 minutes, and 22 seconds. So he looks like he's going to be a contender.
Yeah, it is. And he have another comment to Alejandro. He have the perfect combination of events to prepare this kind of races.
Yeah.
And well, in the past, they work on a military on the government of the Mexico government, and they have a different kind of mindset, because if you start your life and you live like a military, you live all your life like that.
Yeah.
And that's amazing for the sport. Obviously, you have the responsibility, you have the structure, you have the capacity to organize all around the race. One of his crew members, Miguel Aguilar, he won the Ultraman non-stop 2 years ago. And it's the same kind of athlete with a good mental work, with a good mental fitness work to finish the race. And this kind of athletes, Larry, normally have a good experience in the race, because they prepare the race very, 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 very slow. They have time. They have all organized to move your energy to the finish line. Yeah. That's cool. And always, Larry, always these kind of people finish the race. Never DNF for this kind of people.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, let's move on to our final two competitors. Two 55-year-olds competing in the age group of 50 to 59. Can you tell us who they are?
The next one is Jesus Ventura Rábago Estrada. He's 55 years old, and he is from Walnut, Sonora, Mexico. Very on the borders, exactly. He come with his family, the complete family, for the race. Guillermina Lopez, Angelica, Nina, and Ventura.
Yeah, and I see that he's done, like most of your competitors, Ironman in Cozumel, the 70.3 and the full. He's done Ironman in Tempe, Arizona, and Flagstaff. He's done the 70.3. The most recent one I saw for him, he had an Ironman Cozumel time in 2019 of 13 hours and 7 minutes. And I see for him, one of the things he puts down for the type of music he likes is 80s music. So he must be a friend of yours.
Yeah, this is the only one because all the athletes listen reggaeton and stuff like that. And another thing from this amazing guy is her coach, Angelica Rábago, is the doctor, and she helped to train all the training, all the programs, all the gym sessions for his father, and that's amazing, Larry. Not all the people have this at his house.
Yeah. Yes, it's nice to have the trainer in the family for sure.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah. Well, next up is probably the most experienced racer in the field, a man who's done your race before. Can you tell us a little bit about this other 55-year-old?
Yeah, I think one of the most important athletes or Ultraman athletes here in Mexico. His name is Ramiro Gutierrez. He's 55 years old. He's from Zacatecas too. He's a good friend of my family. He's a good friend of mine, and he have a lot of experience on the Ultraman field, Larry. He finished 10 Ironmans, 2 times in Canada, and probably he can remember the number, but maybe 15 or 20 70.3 races. The best Ironman was in Cozumel in the 19, about 12 hours. And this guy is out of the series, Larry. He have a lot of experience and he have a big hug, and he is part of this family of Ultraman. Ramiro, it's part of the race since the first year, and he was my crew on my first time in UK, Larry.
Oh, so he goes right back to the beginning.
Yeah, exactly. He started with me at the beginning, correct?
That's awesome. That's great that you still have that connection.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know, that's a good guy to finish off our preview on then, because he's going to bring all that experience and bring that lifestyle to the race and start sharing that with some of these new younger people as well. And that's really what it's all about. I think at all 515 races, and especially at yours from what you've been saying. You know, you were originally on the podcast back in season 1, episode 6, with your good friend Miguel at that time. And he did a really great job of describing what your course is like. And listeners that are now inclined to maybe come and try your race in Mexico should listen to that episode. But have you made any course changes since then? And can you maybe remind us of some of the more interesting or challenging parts of your course?
Yeah, we have, the swim course is on a lake. You need finish 10 loops to finish the 10K. And all the circuits, Larry, and all the for the day 1 and for the day 2 and for the day 3, the courses are a very different courses between the day 1, between the day 2 and the day 3, because you are running at the semi-desert in Mexico, and you have the opportunity to watch a lot of good views of the real Mexico in the desert, and that's very cool for all the people who want visit us, Larry. Obviously, we prepare a good race for the people. It's not only about the distance. You need the complete profile of few things to offer a good race for the people who want to finish this race, Larry.
Hey, stick with us for just a couple more minutes and hear all the information about the new Ultraman coming to Texas. People that follow the 515 Ultra Podcast socials will have seen that you have announced a new 515 race coming up in the United States. And I think you've brought in a special guest to help tell us a little bit about that race. Who do you got with you there, Van?
Now with me is Michelle. She's my partner and my partner too with the Ultra Texas 515, Larry. And she can try to explain all behind the race. She have a lot of experience, you know about it. And now like a partner on the director of the race, no?
Yeah. Hi, Michelle. Welcome to the podcast.
Hey, Larry. Thank you.
Yeah. So you have a background in Texas, I believe. So where and when are you going to be holding this race? Tell us a little bit about it.
So basically, yes, we do have a background, or I do, especially with UltraMan. I was out there. I can't remember what year it was, but I was there for the 2 years that they held the UltraMan 5-1-15, and it was pretty
Actually,
cool.
I think it was Ultra 520.
520. You're right. Yeah, because it was with Steve Brown, and we were out there for 2 years, and it worked pretty nice. And I'm not quite sure what the reason was why they stopped it, and it didn't continue until now. And during the summer, me and Van were out there doing a ultra trail run, and down in South Texas. It's called Junction. It's near Kerrville. And we were just thinking how cool it would be to bring back a long distance race, and also putting a race in the US and bringing all the community that is already involved with Van's past races. We thought that it would be nice that we could put or merge two different countries and race. We just thought it would be cool. So we found the perfect spot, and we already have people working with us and trying to get all the permits and stuff. So this race hopefully will be held on May 2023 down in the very nice and hilly south part of Texas. So most people think Texas is flat, but it actually has a small little place down in the south that it's pretty hilly. So it'll be nice, fun, hot, hilly, and long.
That what are you looking at as far as the course? Like, was it going to be a lake swim, or what are we looking at?
So very interesting. There's not many lakes or natural lakes in Texas. Most of them are man-made, but there is a river which is very popular. It's called Guadalupe River, and I'm not quite sure how far it extends, but it crosses a big part or a big chunk of Texas. So it goes through Kerrville, which is the city or village where we're putting on the race. And it's pretty cool because there is already a 70.3 race there. So we're just kind of like trying to like readjust the distances within the route that already exists.
Do you have a website where people can go to register when that does open that you want to share with the listener?
We started to put information at the UltraMX series page.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's like the main site. And then we also have an Instagram page where people can find us. It's UltraPX 515.
Okay. So yeah, if people are interested, then they can just find you on the Instagram and send you a direct message so that they can be on that priority list when registration opens up.
Yes. Actually, Larry, we opened the Instagram page just to kind of get things started, and we received so much interest in the race that I'm pretty sure it's going to be a really, really good race. We have it's not going to be hard to get people into it. There's a lot of people who are interested. So it's pretty cool to see how that's coming along. Like I said, all we're waiting is for the city permits. We already sent in all the information they needed. And yeah, once that is open, then it's a green light and the go for us.
Nice. Excellent. Well, I guess also because you guys are big Instagram users, is that the best place for people to follow along with the race coming up here in Mexico if they want to get their results coming in?
Yeah. Now is the main way or the main via to find information to give the correct communication with the athletes and the people who want to be involved on this kind of sector or like that.
Yeah. And hopefully we're going to see a video on your Instagram of Steve King arriving in Mexico and getting his welcome.
Oh yeah. We're excited to have him over. I actually met him for the first time in Ultraman Texas. That's when I met him first. I was just starting to get into triathlon, and it just seemed pretty cool. He seemed a pretty cool person, and up to this day, he's still pretty cool. And so we're very pleased to have him over.
Yeah. Okay, well, guys, hey, thanks a lot for joining me today and working on this preview for your UltraMX race and letting us in on a little bit of the information of the upcoming Ultra Texas 515 as well. Appreciate your time and thanks for coming by.
Thank you.
Thank you too, Larry. See you soon and keep in touch for more information.
Hey, if you liked what you heard today, please tell a friend and be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. We'd appreciate it if you'd rate and review the show while you're there. Drop the names of the people you think we should interview and we'll get in touch with them and make that happen. Thank you for listening to 515, the Ultra Podcast, a production of 55 Enterprises. Now really, go subscribe now before you forget.